What's going on, chat? Third match of the night. Fresno State University #2 team versus Concordia, Wisconsin. I'm Yell Crib, joined by Orbital. Orbital, we got three maps tonight, kicking it off. on Ilios. This is the Navigators division, kind of the lower level of play here. So things are going to stray a lot from the common meta, and I like that about these lower divisions. You get that playground offense. What are you looking to see in this game?
I honestly would love to see a throwback to like the beginning seasons, maybe a bit of Torbjorn, maybe a little bit of Junkrat thrown in there, but I honestly feel those will not come. Uh, however, I would love to see some of those, these very low play rate heroes that um, sometimes can still surprise us in certain instances. Of course, we have Ilios, Kingsrow, and Havana, same maps that we've seen all the other teams play on tonight. And again, these are some very good times to start testing your limits because I think both these guys are sitting at 1-0. It's just currently that Fresno State 2, they won 3-0 in their match, whereas Concordia, Wisconsin won 2-1. So although I don't think we'll see any craziness like a Farah or Torbjorn or Junkrat, I think we'll still see some very nice strays outside of the current basic meta.
Should be some very low to the ground, low impact Overwatch going on. Not too much of high technical stuff. So I think what we can expect a lot out of the tank lines, at least, is just brawl versus brawl, going right hook for a right hook with the Reinhardts. And I think, like you said, maybe some blow them up offense. Get the Junkrat in there. That's a common hero in this division for sure. Riptire is a massive ultimate with swing potential, but Torb, one of my all-time favorite heroes. I would love to see him out in the mix. Ilios is a good map for it, right?
Yeah, Torb and actually Reaper, I think those are the two that you used to see a lot of the time in this because of the drop down zones straight on point. On Ilios, Reaper with the Death Blossom you used to see play after play of the game. In that instance, just dropping in some very cheesy ultimate wipes and being able to cap on that point. But I don't think we'll see anything crazy like that unless one of the teams get very desperate. Uh, if that happens, though, I will thoroughly, I think, enjoy this game. So Torb as well as Ferret, the barrage coming out. So if we see any of those, I will absolutely be happy.
Should be a pretty good matchup so far. Concordia, Wisconsin. They had a bit of a shaky preseason, but then in their first league game against Hood College, they got that 2-1 win, like you said, in a very close game that really tested their mettle. And Fresno State, they had a bit of an easier time winning 3-0. So it's going to be interesting to see if Concordia, Wisconsin can come out and just surprise Fresno State with a level of competition that they weren't ready for and maybe jump out early here on Ilios. But we're getting into the map here. We'll start discussing comms as they make their picks. But on this first point, Ilios Ruins, there's some more common picks we could see here. I mean, the pro level, you're seeing Widowmaker and all kinds of crazy stuff. But what are we looking like today?
I honestly will always assume that we're gonna see some level of the Anna and Zarya, two of the top picked heroes currently in just about any meta. But the Mercy McCree, I think McCree has been a staple above all. And yeah, immediately we see two McCrees coming out, KCV grabbing one and M Cola grabbing the other. So fairly standard, except the Winston a little bit surprising as it's not in my opinion, one of the top tanks that you want to run currently.
Flower Ghost being the player on that Winston for Fresno State too. And Artemis on the Reaper on the other side of things. That is a hard counter to Winston. Reaper did have a little bit of a change that came through in a patch today, so he's able to do a little less damage up close, but his range is significantly increased. So we're going to see how that counter impacts Fresno State's front line as this first fight is about to unfold. Lucio just speeding in Concordia, Wisconsin, taking the tempo, getting the point first, setting up the brawl down low. They've got M. Cola on the McCree up top, just locking down these high grounds. Mega health pack, very important, especially for Cherry on this Tracer as they make their way into the backline, starting to challenge the Reaper now. Artemis having to wraith out the brawl, though, collecting the kill onto Flower. It goes Tectus, the one with the final blow on the elimination. Bacon Strip rolling in with a lot of confidence on this Brig. A little bit lost in the sauce, looking like a meatball, but it has the Zarya bubble there and bailed out. But the Fire Strike from Rick Dazzle ends up taking him down.
Concordia, Wisconsin, they were first on the point and first to grab a hold, even though there was a very slow flank coming out of Fresno State too. They just weren't able to find any of these shots, so now it's all on Fresno State 2 to try and find their way back in. It's going to be a little bit tricky with the DPS that they have and the tanks as well. That Reinhardt Rick Dazzle putting up a very nice wall, and I think it's just going to cause a lot of chaos here in the first round of map 1.
The DPS for Fresno State already coming up on their ultimates. Cherry has that pulse bomb, looking for an opportunity to find a stick, but a good job by Pectus, the Zarya of Concordia, Wisconsin, keeping him at bay. The pulse bomb thrown out, finds a double kill, and that's the momentum they were looking for. Fresno State pours onto the point. Final blows left and right. KCV does go down, but I feel like the job has been done. Cherry popping off, but Pectus again staying alive at high charge. The point will flip, but Pectus is back there, but not able to last. Flower of Ghost taking him down.
Yeah, but you always have to remember that very nice save at the very end, the contest on a 4-on-1, that still gave him an ample extra about 5% on the point. So sitting about 50% for the side of Concordia, Wisconsin. I think they're very happy with that first take time. Now they have the ultimates. You see 4 up, Hectus, M-Cola, Duckinator, and Mawal. All 4 of them have it, and there is going to be the pop by the Mercy.
Backpack has the mana boost, throws in the Animate, trying to keep him alive in the Graviton Surge. They're all locked up. Bacon Strip goes down, but a pair of kills have been found for Fresno State as the Fire Strike finds Backpack in the back line. Pouring onto the point now is Concordia, Wisconsin, looking for a clean flip, but Flower and Cherry in the back line are making a mess of things right now, Orbital.
Yeah, that was absolutely a point of Fresno State too, kind of forgetting that this is a point control map. You saw 3 of them just shift straight for the kills, and you have to remember in this instance, kills don't mean as much. You have to stay on that point and make sure the opponent doesn't cap, because now they could have, in my opinion, been sitting at maybe 42-43%, and now you're stuck watching the timer tick up for Concordia, Wisconsin. However, Fresno State 2, again, 5 ultimates available. See if they can do anything about it.
The dodge goes in, the nano slapped onto the Winston. Triple pulse bomb from Cherry coming through. He's found 5 with his first 2 ultimates of this match. As the final fight situation for Fresno State was looking dicey, but like you said, Orbital, they had the ultimates in hand to retake this point very smoothly.
I'm loving this. I wanted a bloodbath, and I wanted to see some craziness, and this is it so far. Cherry showing up big with these pulse bombs, showing up big with some of these links as well, and now you're seeing Concordia, Wisconsin kind of play a little bit. They only have 1 ultimate available, which is the Lucio. Not exactly what you want if you're trying to push out from your own spawn point. So we'll see if they can make it work, if they're able to make a cactus. They only had 10% left to go.
Strip in a lot of trouble trying to shield through that damage, but eventually does go down. Doesn't commit the ultimate though. A pair of kills have come through so far in the feed. It's a 5 versus 5. Pectus, who has been the carry for this Concordia team, has fallen early here, so it seems like they're going to wait for him to get back in the mix. With the Brawl Comp staging on the right side, looks for a time to push. Flower of Ghost just hopping in on the Winston, staging his dive as well in the back line, making some space, turning him around. The pin comes through. KCV and Night already going down to Rick Dazzle, but he's taken down by Backpack. Reaper Ultimate coming through the Zarya bubble, saving him from that stun from Bacon Strip. Cherry goes down to the high noon from M-Cola, and it is last fight situation here. Fresno State, the Nano Monkey just trying to hang on to this point, but he's the last line of hope, and I don't think he's got it in him, Orbital.
It might not, but remember, as soon as one of these Wisconsin groups step off, they will lose that point. However, 99%, that is a call. This is going to come down to the wire. Multiple health bars low on Concordia, Wisconsin's side. Fresno State 2 trying their best to cap it, but it's not going to work. A well-timed retake in the final hour means Concordia, Wisconsin will take round 1.
And a good Graviton Surge there at the end by Pectus, just to keep Fresno State off of that point just for a few seconds while overtime ticked down. Left nobody with a chance to touch in overtime, and they steal the first round. That was a phenomenal retake we saw at 90% on their last fight.
Yeah, and I think a huge thing is you saw at about 95% for Fresno State 2, you saw all 6 ultimates pop up on the side of Concordia, Wisconsin. They were just like, all right, that's the go button. That's all we need to hear. Let's push for it, and I love that fact. You got to make those snap decisions, and Overwatch is all about that. So here we go. Round number 2 coming out here. Excited to see what they can do. Pit of Doom, of course, as I like to call it.
Pit of Doom, the Ilios well. It seems like this is just where off-tanks go to die. If you lose the Roadhog duel, you get hooked, you end up in the well so fast. Flower of Ghost just finds a halt, finds the hook, finds the McCree stun. Just so many things of CC crowd control just marked with his name on it. That is unfortunate for the Wrecking Ball in Fresno State.
Yeah, my eyes are definitely on Cherry though. Again, with this beautiful play coming out from the Tracer, I want to see if we can get a good flank off. We're looking, the pinch is occurring, and now everyone's kind of melting in here.
Cherry halfway to that ultimate so far, trying to finish off these low targets. A massive slam comes in from Flower Goes. Cherry is able to clean up the kill onto M. Cola. They're just rolling in now. They're able to capture the point first here on Well, and that is huge, Orbital. This point is so tough to retake.
Oh, and that looked like it was going to be a little bit of a chance because I think Mawal actually picked up 2 of the tanks, and you know, as soon as the tanks go down, you think that the DPS and the healers will fall right after. But a very nice sweep, very nice flank, equals Fresno State to grabbing it at that point, and now it's going to be a second attempt coming out for the retake here for Concordia.
Beat dropped the first ultimate committed by Mawal, keeping Concordia, Wisconsin alive, at least for now, as they're tripped up here on the corner of the point. Hectus, I don't know how Night Knight ended up falling and dying to gravity right there, but he found a way. The tanks again taken out of the fight for Fresno State. They've got to cling to this point, though. The flip comes through at 42%. Not a bad first hold, though.
This game is going to be, this round, I'm sorry, is going to be all about who gets booped the most.
Did you see how Night Knight died? I missed it.
It was actually Mawal actually got a nice little bump right there. It was the most classiest touch. It was just like a little push over the edge, and it was amazing to watch.
The gentle nudge is enough to do it. Wrecking Ball coming through now, but Flower Goes. He gets booped right into the well, too. I mean, left, right, and center. Gravity is claiming victim after victim here on Ilio as well. They've got to keep their distance from this center point. Rick Dazzle, point blank, puts an end to Cherry's attack, sitting him down with the scrap gun of Roadhog, now just pushing into the point. Can they find a boop? The whole hog is going to keep him back, at least for now. ACV does find that pick, but Pectus again with the double kill, locks him up in the grab, puts a stop to the attack right there.
Yeah, and Flower goes kind of a late little run-in with the Wrecking Ball. Late attempt, of course, he kind of fell behind his DPS, so that's unfortunately going to mean a nice hold by the side of Concordia, Wisconsin. They are hoping to keep this point locked down. Again, it's getting close in the percentages. You want to ramp it up to about 85, 90 and hope to stall out there instead of about 60. We'll see if they can make Mazzari a very nice hold.
Ahmed with a pulse bomb, but unfortunately he can't do it. Boop into the well is Rick Dazzle. Bacon Strip getting in the mix of the boop kills. Hectus still, though, high charge popping off, holding down the front line all alone. As Rick Dazzle, his off tank has already gone down. Pectus, fighting for his life, does go down at KCV Gaming. And now it seems like Fresno State, they're starting to stabilize here on this corner of the point, but they don't quite have the numbers to challenge Concordia, Wisconsin, who start to take more off angles, and Bacon Strip does go down.
Ooh, but 96%, a nice contest. He's to a point of that's a DPS down. KCV gets drawn out. Such a big DPS hold.
Well ulting to fantastic hook coming through from Rick Dazzle. Overtime starting to bleed down. Another one! Oh, this man is on fire! Overtime bleeds down. No fight left in Fresno State here on Ilios, and that is 1-0 Concordia, Wisconsin. What a start. What a very active round that Ilios well had. I think the well had gold elims.
It's crazy to me, right? I don't normally say this, and I was gonna say Cherry was the big MVP of the match, but I don't think I had to say it right there. I've never seen a support and tank be the 2 primary playmakers in that second round.
Yeah, what a show they put on there. I mean, Rick Dazzle was menacing on the Roadhog. You can't do that on every map. There's not always a pit of doom to hook people into the abyss, but on that point, he certainly did not disappoint us. It's going to be interesting to see how he plays off tank going forward, given how he just set the tone so far on that first map.
Yeah, not just that, it was also a lot of the boops, and I love calling it the boops. I will never stop calling it the boops because that's what I've learned what it's called. But Mawal with a lot of those important stops on the DPS and a lot of the engages, right? I think once or twice we saw Night get dropped. I think Wrecking Ball also got thrown out as well. So it was very, very well played to have both of these kind of disengage and pressure creators on the map. And you saw multiple times, getting dropped in the pit and you have to be worried about something like that, right? A lot of these maps have certain implications, have these certain situations that occur no matter what in the rounds. And of course, this was one control map. That's the only time that'll really occur. But you have to be wary of kind of these cheese situations, because that's how you can lose rounds very, very simply, like we saw. So very, very well played by Concordia, Wisconsin to pick up map number 1.
And just when things were looking dicey for them too, when KCV Gaming popped that high noon in the corner, it looked like he was going to find at least a couple, and then just right into the well. Rick Dazzle gave him the old right there. Fred with the hook and brought him down. But Kings Row, there's no well here. I mean, there is on third point. There's a little bit. I can't imagine Rick Dazzle gets like 4 kills into that thing. I think it's going to be Ryan Zarya versus Ryan Zarya. I'm excited. I'm excited to see that brawl.
Yeah, and the Graviton Surges, I believe, the Graviton Surges from both of these teams is actually very good. You saw it utilized multiple times, pulling in at least 3 to 4. So both teams know how to utilize it. It's the question of who can follow up, right? That's my big question. There was a Graviton Surge, I believe, that came out of Fresno State 2 by Night that it actually pulled in 3 to 4, but it was so early that none of the team could capitalize. So especially here on Kings Row, where you have that hybrid point control plus the payload push, there's a lot of areas where you can utilize that ultimate both on defense and offense. So Night showed some promise in map number 1. I want to see him step up as well here in game number 2 and see if he's able to really put that CC down and help Cherry achieve all the play of the games.
I think another Graviton Surge you're referring to from Night on Ilios Ruins definitely locked up a good amount of members, but just the follow-up wasn't quite there. Sometimes it takes a map just to get that timing and coordination in with your team. Maybe that's what we were looking at there. Kings Row, it's a lot tighter. The pacing is a lot more straightforward. I think if both teams do run the Ryan Zarya, they go brawl versus brawl. The Graviton Surges this map are going to be absolutely insane orbital.
Yeah, I love those. And then also, I don't expect Cherry to change anything out from the Tracer. This map also has a lot of good dip and dodge roll areas. So far, the Tracer has been immaculate. I think it was twice that we saw very, very large pulse bombs that gave Fresno State 2 that big initiation, right? That big opening that they needed to take that cap on very difficult retakes. So excited to see what they pull here. I believe it is going to be Fresno State 2 on defense first, with Concordia, Wisconsin on the first attacking side.
It does seem to be the look of things here as we get set to begin Kings Row here on London. One of my all-time favorite maps. I love the design of the first point, the statue, how you can rotate around it, and just the different paths you can take to this first point. You could be a high ground team where you rush all the way in on that right side, or you can just put your foot on the gas and just gun it through the hotel and attack. And that might just be the strategy we see coming out from Concordia, Wisconsin. Is they've got the Lucio, they've got the Reinhardt, the Zarya, the Reaper. I mean, they are looking for that fast ball rush composition to be in full effect.
Yeah, and not only that, Cherry, I was wondering what DPS was going to come out, and out pops the Mei. I missed this hero. I love it so much. It is one of the most troll. I think there are so many highlight videos of trapping someone in a corner and just constantly over freezing someone, which is the most BM thing I can possibly imagine. So we'll see if Cherry is able to pull it off. Again, the defense here, a lot of good points like you stated, and looks like a very standard setup here on point defense.
Well, nothing quite slows down that fastball rush like a Mei freezing them in their tracks. We'll see if he can get that crucial wall to come in on this first choke. KCV rolls through just for a little bit of damage there on the Reaper. The wall does split off Pectus. They try to break it and burst through, but they're not quite fast enough, and Pectus does go to Cherry.
Oh, that's rude. Cherry already pulled out the stops with the wall. This is going to be a good game. I can already see this just being brutal for the side of Concordia, Wisconsin, if they can't find a way to deal with this Mei's pseudo CC coming out.
Definitely going to be a grind for the attacking team. There is a way they can avoid this Mei wall coming up in the choke every time, though. They can just path through the hotel on the right. That is a marvelously fast and dangerous Earth Shatter coming out from Flower. And he's just going to roll into Rick Dazzle and Pectus, and those kills are cleaned up, no problem. Well, like I was saying, Orbital, not to be interrupted by some crazy Reinhardt ultimates, they can path high ground through the hotel and just jump down and avoid this Maywall. And they might want to think about it because Cherry is landing these and getting those splits.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a team literally in game take about 30 seconds to decide what they want to do, but I think that's what occurred right there. Saw all of them kind of congregate around each other, and they decide, no, let's just keep doing the same thing. This is, you're playing Far Cry at this point. You know, definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. McCree stepping up on the side, trying to take a couple pot shots, but I mean, I don't think this is going to work.
Shatter does land onto Flower, who's doing a great job charging up his own Shatter again, but Cherry goes down to Texas. The Immortality Field taken down too. M. Cola rolling in with a double kill. Flower goes just trying to make a stand, taking down Rick Dazzle, the main tank. No more for Concordia, Wisconsin. And the Death Blossom finds more from ACV Gaming. And he's just rolling around, riding high, locked up in a grab, finally taken down. And just the front line left standing for Concordia, Wisconsin.
Man, that was almost executed perfectly. KCV with the drop right in the middle, and this is why Reaper is known as one of the sneakiest DPS. I love that play, and now this might be a full grab. It is the first half. Add an extra 2.5, 3 minutes on your time. That is going to be the payload starting out. Concordia, Wisconsin looking like they finally found the groove.
You certainly look like it. Cherry did toss in that May ultimate a little bit late, some might say, but it froze up 4 and could have really swung things back, and plus he's over to the McCree now, switching heroes. Didn't quite want to deal with that May ultimate anymore. And it seems like we're going to be going with complete mirror comps other than Duckinator being on the Mercy and Backpack on the Baptiste. It's a little bit of interaction gameplay going on. Backpack coming up with his ultimate. That amplification matrix is going to be massive. If Flower can hit a fire strike through it, if they can Graviton Surge Concordia on the other side of it, and it looks like that is the play. Both things I just mentioned come true, and 3 quick kills. Make it 5, follow up for Fresno State.
Welcome to the pain train. That cap was beautiful. The flank executed perfectly in a point where no one expected it, and I think, I don't know if this was intentional or not, of course, but a very good bait. You know, you wait at the very end of the hallway, you let KCV start drawing their attention, and you just drop the nuke. So well played by the side of Fresno State.
Both Shatters blocked by Zarya Bubbles. Good heads-up play by the off-tanks there, but it's not going to be enough to keep the main tanks alive much longer. Although Duckinator on this Mercy does get the resurrect through onto Rick Dazzle in the front line for Concordia, Wisconsin, able to push forward with some confidence now. They've got Texas with the Graviton Surge, not only that, but at about 100 charge, and both DPS ultimates online as well.
Yeah, not only that, you have the Mercy ultimate, the Zarya Graviton Surge, there it is, good pull in.
The B-drop coming out, able to keep all of Fresno State alive, retreating around that corner just for a few seconds, and now they're looking to re-engage. KCV almost has that Reaper ultimate back online, has to wraith out, get some help. Nuke coming in from Cherry, able to climb the wall. And it seems like the backline presence keeping up the pressure, raining in headshots. KCV from the front, shotgunning everything down. I mean, this is just a burst of a Fresno State defense we're seeing.
That was... I wasn't expecting that at all. Cherry only got 1 with the high noon, and then just the immediate swamp of damage coming from the rest of Concordia, Wisconsin. Either they have practiced this a lot, or they're just finding the picks that they need. They did that without ultimates. I just want to point that out. They now have 5 of 6 currently set up, and 50% sitting on Texas. So we'll see if this is going to happen again. Yep, there it is. Definite pain coming out once again as Texas and Rick Dazzle are taking out the new respawn, but now it's offset. Multiple members are very low. Cherry just dropping kills left and right now, and they're actually getting pressure all the way through as Fresno State 2 are deciding that they are going to take the advantage down. They're no longer waiting on the back end, and that is such a good defense now. Under a minute to get to this first checkpoint on the payload.
Under a minute. They had a pretty hefty time bank to start things off here on second point, but now their back is getting closer and closer to the wall. And I'm loving the combos we've been seeing from Fresno State, really executing on their ultimates. The Shatter blocked by Flower. Not a lot of those have gotten through. On the side of Fresno State, they're doing a great job walling those off. Cherry off the DPS offense. He does it again, finding 4 orbital. This man is possessed. What an edgelord.
Oh my gosh, that is the most epic way to end our round. I think that just demoralized him 10 seconds later. KCB just comes out and says, nah, I got this. Such a beautiful ultimate. Oh my god.
We're seeing that Death Blossom coming out from the other side, though. And it seems like that's able to find out Lee's Bacon Strip. It's a 4 versus 4, make it a 4 versus 3. Fresno State going down in this deal. The Resurrect comes through back on a Rick Dazzle. Overtime is starting to dwindle down. So they have to make sure Concordia, Wisconsin, they've got to stay near this cart. They can't get too far away, can't get too aggressive in the space they choose to take.
Yeah, and I mean, after that ultimate, this is a great rebound. You know, you don't give up, never back down. And now you're getting into one of the worst choke points here on Kings Road as KCB actually tries to teleport up. Let's see if he can find another immaculate style, but I don't think you have the ultimate available. Ooh, good snipe by Flowers.
Fantastic fire strike through the window, and the shatter lands onto M. Cole, but they can't quite get there to finish off that kill. And the wall does go down for the attackers. Overtime here. Don't forget, the shatter laid down stuns, 3 on the floor, but Night Knight is rolling through with some charge and just erasing attacker after attacker. It's just Artemis left standing, and he can't stray from the point. He's in overtime and has no play to make, and that's where the cart will stay. A fantastic hold from Fresno State bouncing back.
Man, I was terrified, right? After KCB got that amazing ultimate, after he was able to lay out, I think it was a 4-man clear, and then the push back as well. Concordia, Wisconsin, they tried their best, and now they have the chance to make it change a little bit. Gonna take a look, see what they decide to do on defense, and see if they're able to stop the side of Fresno State 2 a little bit shorter than 110 meters.
The even matchup we're seeing so far. We're seeing DPS and tank mirrors going after each other. Concordia, Wisconsin, they come out in the first map on Ilios, and they pick up the first 2, and it looked a little bit easy, but here on Kings Row, it seems like Fresno State, they've been able to come up with some answers.
Yeah, and I do want to say, you know, I don't think we give enough credit. I try my best every so often to point it out, but big up so far to Bacon Strip and Mawal. Both these guys have played so well with these Lucios and the backup heals as well. But I mean, that overshield clock and both attempts on some of these ultimate under fires. I just wanted to point out that they have done so well keeping their teams alive in crucial team fights.
Yeah, and Night Knight too, kind of getting it together with those Graviton surges. We saw one that went a little awry on Ilios, to say the least, and here they've really had that reined in, and they've just collected massive amounts of Concordia, Wisconsin players, and they've been able to finish up the follow-up damage on everyone so far. But now we're getting the first fight underway, and the defense from Concordia, Wisconsin holding a bit farther back, but Rick Dazzle gets rolled into and taken down by KCV, but Artemis does find that counter kill on the backpack. So without a support now is the front line of Fresno State, but they're still claiming all this space. They've captured 2 ticks, and now they're down their main tank, but still, that defense from Concordia, Wisconsin, not aggressing very hard. They're fine giving up these 2 ticks. They roll back onto the point. Cherry goes down to M. Cola, and I think they might just be able to hold this orbital.
Yeah, they just might. Of course, this take was much faster than before, but that's going to be the first grab onto M. Cola, brought back right in the middle, and that's going to mean that Concordia, Wisconsin are able to stave off a complete overtake on the first push.
And not too bad in the alt economy department either. Pectus already has that grab. It's a 5-man. The beat drop and the immortality field have to come out to keep him alive. Shatter comboed with the high noon from M. Cola puts a stop to the attack right then and there, as the front line is no more for Fresno State.
Yeah, and honestly, I want to say M. Cola got very lucky grabbing 2 tanks off of that ultimate. You saw and could hear how late that came after the Graviton surge. And, you know, you always want it a little bit early because there were at least 4 stacked up there. So we'll see if they can put it together a little bit better. But still, a very nice hold right in a very nice choke point right around the stack.
2 minutes, 20 seconds left to go for the attackers. They only have to get a tick. They can rush it down very quickly. If they're able to get a couple of kills strung together here. Cherry from the high ground foot. Put to bed by Pectus. The Death Blossom again. He always finds at least 1, at least 2. Night Knight comes in to finish him off. And it seems like that is it. Tick taken with 2 minutes on the clock, and that buffs the time bank back up to 4.5 minutes here for Fresno State. That's a good way to rally back in and take that first point.
Oh man, all eyes were on Cherry with that high noon call. You actually saw Pectus snipe him down. And then KCV said, cool, you're focused on the other DPS. I got this. 2 play of the games in 1. Let me do it. And they're able to cap it. 4 minutes to spare. Let's see. All they have to do is actually hit, I think, that first checkpoint, and they will win this round. So we'll see if they can pull it off, and if they can hold off, but M-Cola might have something to say about it.
CV already in the back line doing work. Cherry up front lands the headshot onto Artemis. And Flower just rolling a little deep here, trying to take as much space as he possibly can, getting close to the finish line on second point. This is a bit of a speed run we're seeing so far, and Fresno State has the ultimates in hand to finish it off.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think there is going to be any contest here. As much as you would hope, it looks like a very good point set up by Fresno State they're able to finish it, but see, one final push.
He got 6 ultimates, and they're coming in now. Valkyrie gets popped to keep them all alive on the engage. He jumps and shatters Rick Dazzle. A flashy Angela Reinhardt. And now the Death Blossom comes in from Artemis. It's only able to find Cherry in the Immortality field, but they're rolling in deep, fully supported by this Valking Mercy Duckinator, keeping them all alive and damage boosted. And that's the hold right there. But still, Fresno State, they didn't invest that much. They kept ultimates to win this on this next fight.
Yeah, and honestly, Artemis didn't get that many kills, but you saw all the health bars. That's all that they needed. The follow-up from Rick Dazzle and the rest of the the Concordia Wisconsin squad, that was all they needed to get this one push. Again, 2.5 minutes left. This is going to be a tough uphill battle coming out as Fresno State to feel confident with their push.
Is up to Pectus to get a massive Graviton Surge. That one's going to lock up 5 again. Deep drop coming out. Cherry lands the headshot on the M-Cola. The Shatter finds poor Rick Dazzle, does collect a kill with a pin on the Bacon Strip, but now he's battered back around the bookstore. Fire struck down by Flower goes, and with no more frontline, it's going to be tough. Concordia, Wisconsin doesn't have much place to... I mean, the MVP of Kings Row, without a doubt. KCP with another multi-kill Death Blossom. Fantastic showing.
You can't do it to him like that. He just crushes the opposition, and now no one is available. That's gonna be the cap. Oh my gosh, KCV carrying those fights.
Tied up at 1. KCV definitely coming up with answers here in the play of the game. You're gonna see one very good answer. I think this one's gonna be the 4-man. Has to be.
Oh yeah. Such a beautiful setup, and you can see the hope, a little bit of a teleport, and drops right in. Beautiful, clean, just an immaculate flank move.
Nobody knew he was coming. I mean, he was doing anything he wanted out there, playing with full confidence, not afraid of the stuns, not afraid of engaging front lines, flanking into back lines. I'd like to see him on that hero the rest of the match because we're tied up at 1, and the next map is the one that matters the most, and we're going to Havana.
Oh man, and Havana is such an old school map in my opinion. That one's been around for quite some time, and now we're seeing the storyline kind of unfold, right? First it was Cherry, now it's KCV. Both these guys have shown up and showed out. However, on the other side, I think Rick Dazzle and Mawal have both have exceptional plays so far, and Pectus also, game 2, had some awesome Graviton surges. The problem is now M-Cola and Artemis. Sorry, I think I might have flipped the names there. But both of them have been a bit lackluster, right? A little bit offbeat. I'm not sure if that might just be a little bit of timing issues or maybe not comfortable on some of these. But if they can get in sync with the tanks, with all of these aggressive plays that Rick Dazzle and Pectus are wanting to put off, I think the side of Concordia, Wisconsin might have a chance at taking this map number 3.
I think you're right. And honestly, FSU, they've taken the wind out of the sails of Concordia, Wisconsin by stealing that map and putting a stop before they even reach second point. I mean, that's a little bit of a blow to the morale of a team that came off of Ilios so strong. I mean, Concordia, Wisconsin, they came out banging, and FSU said, we're here to play. We're not going to let you roll us over, get a 3-0 win. This one's going to be close.
Yeah, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Right, watching both these teams go at it, and this is also kind of the fun part of having static maps already picked beforehand. Right, you get to see each team pretty much put through the gauntlet. You see which teams excel on certain maps, so you know if you make it to the playoff side, you know what to expect. Right. Again, later on, these guys might not pick the same maps. You only face them on these statics once, but later on, hey, Concordia, Wisconsin, you guys did really well on the Ilios. Cool. We're not going to let you play that from now on. Hey, Fresno State too. You guys did really well on Kings Road. You're not going to play that anymore. So this is the time to start implementing a lot of those changes, and a lot of teams will constantly keep watch as well. So I'm excited to see who takes Havana, because whoever takes it, I think, will have a shoe, and I think pretty much in place, if I'm not mistaken. Upper Iowa University already has a hold in a 2-0 record, 5-1 map diff. So whoever gets it will be tied with them for first and second.
Definitely a map with a lot at stake. The teams are going to be switching sides coming up, so we're going to have Concordia, Wisconsin over on the defense, and FSU, the red team, attacking first. So if the names are different colors for you and you're a little confused, why? I've been most impressed, I think, by Pectus. He seems to be the carry for Concordia, Wisconsin. And then on the other side of things, it's a completely different story for Fresno State, too. I think their DPS are the ones showing up the most for them right now.
Yeah, and again, like you said, the Zarya has been played multiple times. It's such a high priority hero currently, and that's why we see it utilized so often. Reinhardt as well; those two just putting up a front line. And again, I want to see, like you said, Pectus has been very, very solid. Of course, I love the show he plays. Unfortunately, the cheese that came out from Rick Dazzle and Mawal in Map 1 really got my attention. But yes, Pectus been very, very solid. Cherry so far, we saw Cherry try, I think, the May at the beginning, and it just didn't work out. I wonder if he might go for that again and try something cheesy here in game 3, as this is a pure escort map. And I think that would be super fun to see.
Could be fun to see. Seems like they do a little bit better when they keep the brawl composition a little tighter. When Cherry's on the Tracer, he's doing a lot of work, right? But he's straying kind of far from his team, and he's doing damage to just a separated part of this Concordia, Wisconsin team, and he's able to follow up a lot better when he is on those picks, like the May, like the McCree, where just the targets are always right in front of him, and they're right in front of his tanks, and everyone can shoot at him and just beat him down at the same time. That's how you just run that brawl effectively. And I would imagine we're going to see Brawl versus Brawl. Again, it is the Navigator Division's favorite thing to run.
Of course it is. Just bash your head into the rock until it works. And, I can't really blame him. I play the exact same way. I have no game plan whatsoever. Just run at them, hope they die first, and you win the game, right? That's exactly how you win a lot of these games.
Yeah, the playground offense. Just go out there, swinging, shooting, doing damage, doing healing, seeing who comes out on top. But honestly, it's not quite the playground offense. We're not just seeing some ramrods coming together. We're seeing really good combos executed with these ultimates. Last round, Fresno State looked like a completely different team because they just rethought, I think, how they were using their ultimates. They weren't just going in, having Night solo grab stuff. When he's up there, maybe he's high charge trying to do damage himself, but he's getting his teammates involved, making sure they're able to follow up with him.
Yeah, and I just want to point out, we have drastically a different composition coming out of Fresno State too. A Sigma coming in out of nowhere on that attacking side, as well as, I believe, that is going to be a Hanzo gracing our area, as well as an Ashe. So drastically different attacking options here on Havana.
And we're seeing Concordia, Wisconsin, again, the defending blue team. They're going to be holding the spawn. We saw this in our last streamed match, Northern Essex between Lincoln Land Community College. And Northern Essex was the one who did this strat, and they did come out on top just because they killed so much clock up close. The Resurrect does come through. Rick Dazzle goes down. With no frontline, the staying power in the spawn is very limited. You can see now, KCV finding a kill on the Pectus, the carry taken down. The wall also falling to Night. And they're taken down early, but you get a second fight when you hold the spawn like that.
Yeah, And that's going to be a quick push out, quick tempo. KCV grabbing a few, and Cherry as well. So very nice pick so far with this kind of shakeup in the DPS role. And I'm liking it thus far. Quick push, 3 minutes still. And they're already moving. Mawwall just gets sniped. This Hanzo is putting
another one. Hanzo is so good on this map. You can just see Cherry way back in this corner, perfectly safe, playing his range, and just able to log in headshots, body shots that do so much damage onto these squishy targets. M-Cola can't sustain. Rick Dazzle is disported. 1 HP. The Storm Arrow finds 2. Cherry making a name for himself on the Bowman.
That is one of, if not the fastest push I think I've ever seen on
5-minute time bank. That's crazy.
That is just, that hurts to see, honestly, if you're on the defense. And I mean, you have to find a way to shut down this Hanzo, I think, thus far. Cherry has done so well. Grab Pectus twice, which is so important. Like you said, Pectus being one of the big key playmakers. If you grab Pectus, a lot of the defense coming out of Concordia just falters. So see if that can keep happening, but that's going to be the high noon being drawn out.
I like it. It zones him back. It makes him take different positionings. Maybe they can force a mistake out of this right now.
5 ultis.
They've got the DPS locked in on this far side high ground, still playing that max range with those double snipers. And the tanks are just pushing this cart. They don't really care. There's a lot of pressure being done onto them from the high ground directly above, but the cart still moves rather problemless.
And Fresno State, after map number 1, are just coming out with fire in their pants. Huge shots from Cherry once again, and KCV finally takes out Pectus. And that's just going to be a hard push. They haven't used any ultimates to go into second shake.
These DPS are in control for Fresno State. Again, 5-minute time bank. They waste no time. I don't get it.
This is what happens apparently when KCV and Cherry pop off. I mean, are we going to take bets who gets play of the game with some of these snipers? Oh my
Somebody's on Cherry. If we're placing bets, I'm placing mine right now early on Cherry. They still have 6 ultimates. I think they're going to have no problem finishing this map. As Concordia, Wisconsin, they've had to change comps a couple of times here to search for some answers, and they haven't found any yet. And now they're going up against, again, 6 ultimates. That is going to be a pummeling blow coming up from Fresno State in what will be a very colorful fight coming up.
Oh, but now we have a Genji. M-Cola actually swapped up. I didn't even get to see it. Now he's going to dance right in the back, try and take out. But a nice snipe. KCV saves his support. What is this? This Ashe is just popping off now.
KCV was so far away too. He was way in the front line, even ahead of his own Sigma, his main tank. He was the front line. He sees his Zen under duress, turns around, and nails the shot onto M-Cola. He does go down to the headshot there by Artemis, but still a fantastic job peeling from front line to back line from the DPS on Fresno State.
Actually, you see Pectus trying to rotate all the way around, trying to get a little bit of ground on surge. That might grab 3. This might be the play.
Counter slam too. They combo with the grab. They put a stop to the cart. It's the first time this thing has gone 0 miles per hour since the game started, and honestly, I am completely fine with the investment we just saw from the defense because they had to get this thing in park.
Yeah, and it's a last minute swap up in the final hour, right? M-Cola and Artemis swapped out for the Genji and Hanzo, and that's actually where you saw a lot of that combination come out. A huge ultimate from the Hanzo to clear that out on the ground on surge, and now we see the return. Nice little reversal of gravity.
But while not able to live through that flux, Cherry does find the kill. Both tanks down now for Concordia, Wisconsin. They could finish the map right here, but the spawns are going to get back so quickly. Cherry does have this Dragon Strike. They have both support ultimates. That should be enough to get them through. The hook from Flowerland onto Duckinator, taking them down, and that should do it. The defense is going to struggle to get their feet back on the point.
Yeah, now it's just a play for time, right? You want to shave off as many seconds as you can. It was sitting at 4 minutes, so dropping it down to 2:45 is already a good start. That's going to be the clearing ult from Hanzo once again as well, and they're going to try and close this one out as quickly as possible.
M-Cola running around with no nano, just holding out the butter blade, unable to find any kills, eventually taken down by Bacon Strip. Mercy pulling out the Glock, putting an end to the Genji, and just complete control. Flower Ghost landing a headshot on the Mawwall, and that is 2:26 in the bank. What a hell of a time clock for Fresno State.
is it bad that 226 feels slow almost? Like, that's how fast they were pushing, right? Almost every
Yeah.
single checkpoint, they were hitting 4 minutes, 5 minutes. And like, it's not supposed to be normal to think, hey, 2.5 minutes, that's slow, guys. Like, you guys got to pick up the pace, got to push a little bit faster. No, that's a fantastic freaking time to end at. And oh my, I can't believe they ran through 2/3 of that almost uncontested.
Pretty seamlessly the first 2 points. Some answers finally came about for Concordia, Wisconsin on the third point. I mean, they comboed everything into that Graviton Surge just to put an end to the attack, at least for a few seconds. And I think they did what they had to do. I think they realized that time bank was a mountain to overcome on defense, and getting it down to 2.5 minutes is a pretty fair look given the circumstance.
Yeah, and now, oh, I'm so sad. M. Cola actually hovered the Junkrat. I was so excited. I was so freaking excited. And then he swaps to Hanzo and McCree. So, can't complain at all. This has been a fantastic match to watch. And a little bit further back, you see the positioning coming out from Fresno State too. Playing the long con, it looks like.
Yeah, and we saw exactly this in the previous match too. The first team to defend held the spawn, the second played poke from far away, and I think that Fresno State has a very solid comp to poke from this far away high ground. They don't have the range fall off coming through. It's going to be up to M. Cola to get in there on the Sombra, invisible, and just disrupt these DPS off of that high ground.
Yeah, and you can already see the sprint. M. Cola might get a huge flank off. Shield is down on the top side. That's going to be a little bit difficult to follow up. Flower of Ghost gets a nice little heal. Let's see where M. Cola goes.
M. Cola is on his own little marathon right now behind everybody. I think he threw his translocator back there so he can go up with a second flank. The hack onto the Sigma is perfect. Night. Immediately erased. Resurrect comes through. Somehow they aren't able to focus down Bacon Strip, but it still leaves Night in a terribly tough spot. No support left standing. Eventually, he's bound to go down.
Wow, and this is a whole swap up. Concordia, Wisconsin are saying, yo, we're going to have some fun here in this third map. You push fast, we push fast too. I think they might actually match the 4-minute stopper time.
5 minutes. Are we going to see 5? 520.
Even higher.
I think that's better. 520 is insane. This is still winnable. This is such a close game, and this is a match that was previously held on Kings Row 2nd. I mean, the defense has been there on both of these teams to put a stop to the payload early in the map, but on this map, it's a completely different story so far.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that came from that Sombra. It was such a well-timed usage. Now we're going to see a couple snipes coming out. Huge firefight right in the middle as the payload is stopped just point blank. Rick down says, get out of here. That's going to be KCV and Vex getting dropped, though.
Payload's still moving forward. They've got some tanks to get through, though, and it seems like those tanks on Fresno State have all of the cooldowns in hand to just make a stand. They're giving up some space here as the payload continues to move around these large water tanks on Havana's second point, but seems like no problem at all. Fresno State, they're back out there trying to stabilize. Mawal goes down to a headshot from KCV, and the whole hog is unleashed for both Roadhogs. They just batter each other in opposite directions, but it's going to be Rick Dazzle going down first.
Yeah, and that is an ultimate wasted. As you see now, the pressure right back out. Finally, they find some picks in here, and I was a little bit worried as we do get a pause here on the field. And I just want to say that Concordia, Wisconsin, absolute monsters for that push right there. 4 minutes, 2 seconds on that has been looking exquisite here on the attacking side.
They've been doing great so far. I mean, I love to just see them hold the momentum of the game and not give up, because when you defend and you just give up a 5-minute time bank on the first point, a 5-minute time bank on the second point, the other team finishes the map with over 2 minutes, it can be pretty easy to get beaten down. Some call it tilted, but they're not doing that here. They've got 4 minutes on the clock, pushing through second point, pretty strong.
Yeah, and also I feel it's a little bit rough on the side of the defense squad. Fresno State too are actually running the exact same composition they ran for the offense, and I think that might come back to bite them a little bit. The Hanzo and Ash, I think, combination worked very well for pushing techniques, right? You are pushing, you are trying to do that host, but here in Overwatch, you have to be ready to be malleable. You have to be ready to be flexible. And now that you're dealing with the Sombra that can kind of sneak behind and take and pick apart your sniper composition, who on the defense have to be prepped on the waiting. You know, you have to kind of dig deep and hold on. I think that might be a problem. I think we're going to see a potential swap from these regular DPS, and maybe even see that Reaper might come back out to try and get a flank off on this hard pressing offense from Concordia, Wisconsin.
It's definitely not a bad point at all for a Reaper, like you were saying. I think they do have to come up with a few answers here. I like Flower on the Roadhog. He's able to find hooks and put a stop to M. Cola on the Sombra. He's about the only thing in their comp that answers her well. Cherry can do a lot with the Sonic Arrow to catch her when she's sneaking around invisibly in the backline. But if he's not able to land those Sonics in spots where she passes through, it's really all up to Flower to land a hook when she decloaks, because M. Cola right now is just running show on Sombra and has his ultimate for the next fight. One of the best ultimates in the game.
Yeah, and so that would honestly be my only thing, because both these guys have played the offense and defense very, very well, I think. But yeah, I'm just a little bit worried about that Sombra not being answered properly. But I will say, Night not having the Zarya going out with the Sigma this time, it's looked great. I don't see, which is sad to say, of course, but I don't see very many Sigmas played. But I love the gravity change, the gravity flux, and all that, and it's such a beautiful ultimate. I've always been a fan of non-hard CC. You know, how to flip the script on your opponents in new ways, and I think you know, for as long as he's been out, it's looked great for him. And so Night playing this hero to a very grand level.
I like the second look too. I mean, if you go out there with the same composition every time, the other team's going to know what to expect. But just little changes like that, where you mix up your tanks, really kind of change the pace. The other team has to track cooldowns in a different way. It's not just keeping track of the Zarya bubbles, it's keeping track of a Roadhog hook now you got to be aware of. You got to be aware of the Sigma accretion rock coming at you, keeping track of the Sigma shield, the Matrix that can eat up crucial ultimates and abilities. So there's a lot more at play just in terms of what Concordia, Wisconsin has to keep track of. But we are finally back in the game after that brief little disconnect from Bacon Strip. They're back in the action now, and we've got just under 4 minutes on the clock. M. Cola comes back just with a head full of fire and a kill on a KCV.
Yeah, you know, KCV caused him a lot of headaches before, and now he's dealing it right back. The revenge is ever so sweet. Payload pushes, and you see double ultimates being used. There it is. Sombra ultimate dropping 4 right now.
The EMP does turn out the lights for a lot of members on this Fresno State team as they're backed up and into this Graviton Surge. No Transcendence to save them that time. Pectus cleans up both the supports, and the tank should fall shortly after, but Flower able to get that counter kill onto Pectus.
And that was such a well-timed play. I mean, they got both the healers and yet couldn't complete the follow-up, so that means Fresno State are going to be able to hold this defense right here, and it looks like they're having a little bit better time right before the second checkpoint. And Concordia, Wisconsin have got to come up with a new game plan, try it out again, this time though without the hack and without the disabling EMP.
I get the idea.
They've got the support ultimates to work with and the whole hog, but staring down 4 red check marks on the side of Fresno State. I do like this rotation. The first time that they've gunned it up to high ground, but Cherry puts Duckinator to bed with a headshot. The arrow landing, Bob gets thrown all the way to the right side there. Doesn't quite acquire any targets, but he sure looks menacing, doesn't he, Orbital?
Oh, he does, and I'm loving it. You can see him.
He didn't fire a shot.
He's in and out of the line. I love it. Both Roadhogs just dancing on each other as KCV takes out Rick Dazzle. Oh, that was a 1v1. You can't do the man like that.
No, just interrupting. Oh, Mawal gets that bubble, saved by the hook. As Pectus coming back from spawn, able to save his fellow Lucio. And it seems like Concordia, Wisconsin able to continue some of their momentum here, trying to get back up onto the high ground and crack this Fresno State defense.
Fresno State, though, big question is, when are they going to pull the trigger, right? So far, they haven't been forced to, but it might be a possible. M. Cola on the back line said hello.
It is enough to get the res out. The most crucial cooldown in the game. to get out for Fresno State. The flux coming through now. Sigma all the way up in the skybox. Night finding out what it's like to fly. ACB 3 in the feed so far with the help of the Discord, shielded by his Sigma, but it was all made by the flux from Night, and that's how KCV is able to find it.
Man, KCV's listening in on the stream, said, all right, this caster called me out. Cool, I'll prove him wrong. Drops 4 in a heartbeat. That's going to be another fantastic stop. And looking like Concordia, Wisconsin are having some trouble here. They need to start pushing this payload once again, but they are caught here in the warehouse. Roadhog on Roadhog action as the pull draws them in.
Fresno State has turned this attacking 5 minutes into just 1. Make that 45 seconds left on the clock. It could be the final 45 as we are on map 3 in this best of 3 series. Bob gets thrown in now from KCV. Night does go down to the whole hog from Rick Dazzle. Rick Dazzle also cleaning up the kill on the Flower. Artemis landing the headshot to take down KCV's Bob. But still the attackers, they're not out of the woods yet. Dragon Strike comes through, keeping them off the point, keeping this point from moving. Hectus is able to find 2 more.
Hectus just straight up said, I'm done being a tank. Cool, let me be DPS. Literally just got a 3K running behind.
Looking at him right now, he's got the grab. I mean, if he had anybody with him, I'm sure he would have locked up that Roadhog and not let Flower get too far. But payload nearing the end of the second point here. They're going to make it on for another recontest. Graviton Surge locking up a couple. Transcendence has to come through and stay alive. Dragon Strike also thrown right through the point by Artemis, but no kills are found yet. EMP
EMP!
Massive. Artemis and Pectus are able to clean up those kills, no problem. They're able to get these kills, likely able to get this second point and keep themselves alive here, as this remains just a very close game, Orbital.
All right, Mkola snatching that play of the game. First one was a 3, second one I think was 5, if I read that right. However, this is the push that will cause them a lot of problems. They only have a minute and a half, and you see Mawwall sitting on the back trying to keep that payload moving. This is going to be the true test, right? They held defense very well here. Now it's their turn to face the defense.
Cherry switching over to the Widowmaker. You really don't see that too much these days. I like it, coupled with the Ash using the long sightlines of this third point and the very crucial high ground advantage. You can see him up there dueling Artemis right now, seeing what sniper comes out the victor. Cherry just trying to land a crucial headshot. He'll get his team up a pick in this next fight. It could be the last one. We're getting toward the end of this game.
Yeah, 40 seconds, and this is going to cause a little bit of desperation, I feel. Either that or just really well-coordinated team play. That's going to be Flower rolling in with the Wrecking Ball saying, hey, get off this payload. They're doing exceptionally well. Concordia hard pushing in. They're ready at the gates.
They already are, and Cherry has not strayed far from this high ground, still just locking it down on that Widowmaker. The beat drop finally coming out from the wall to keep the attackers alive, able to push in, take a little bit of space here with those overshields, but Cherry lands the headshot on the Duckinator. There's only 7 seconds left, and they're down their main support. Make it! 2 picks, 3 picks, headshots, all of them! Cherry popping off right now, finding the wall, finding Pectus, and that is overtime ticking down, and that's the game. Fresno State come out on top with a 2-1 win. Cherry with the dagger in the finish.
Man, we were wondering how this double sniper would work, and I think they played it extremely well at the end. Of course, Pectus coming out with some fantastic Graviton Surge. Definitely deserves this sneaky play right here. This was amazing. Take a look at this. Just a beautiful draw on 4, and then the follow-up DPS of that Hanzo ultimate, and then the snipe downs. I mean, I personally would have given the 3K, just him running in the backline. That was awesome to watch. But again, beautiful job. Fresno State 2 coming out 2-0 after 2 weeks.
Yep, undefeated still, but they've been given a closer test of the competition. They got a 3-0 in the first week, picking up the 2-1 win, still a W in the column, but Concordia, Wisconsin, they came out. They've had 2 close games in the season so far. They've got to be loving the competition in the NECC because that was an absolute thriller, and their game against Hood was the exact same way.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see what the rest of the squads will be able to do in the future as well. We're getting information about them, and it's just like, you know, how do you read your opponent? And as you watch time goes on, I want to see them adapt as well. At the very end, that adaptation with Cherry was spot on. I would like to see that a bit earlier, right? They were able to draw it out right at the very end, but maybe a bit cleaner execution on some of these defense points, not giving as much as they did before, and realizing when the situation has taken a bit of a turn, noticing when the opponent has swapped out heroes, and you have to come up with a little different strategy. Those things can make all the difference, can save you precious seconds in the game.
And I just want to say again, a fantastic job by Fresno State. They lose the first map, but they don't lose their heads, and they stick through in the payload, in the hybrid maps to come out with the victory here today. Orbital, it's been a pleasure casting with you. If I just had to ask you, who do you think was the most standout player in today's match?
Oh, you can't do that to me.
I
You
got
can't do that to me because
it's actually my job.
I know it is, and the worst
An
part, you bet
interview.
on it and said, Sherry, I have to agree. KCV had some fantastic ultimates, right? Really game-defining moments, but the swap to Widowmaker at the very end, as well as some of those beautiful picks coming out in general, just like Sherry, literally living up to the namesake. Cherry on top of the cake, a beautiful job, and I would give him my outstanding player of the game.
I would honestly give it to either of the Fresno State DPS. They both popped off. The Reaper ults were insane. Maybe we can get KCV in here for a quick little interview, ask him a couple of questions, what it was like to Death Blossom 4 people, 3 ultimates in a row, because that was fantastic to watch. And I'm sure it felt fantastic to press Q and do an entire enemy backline like that.
The best part is when obviously they weren't watching you for the first like 2 or 3 seconds, right? That first play of the game that we saw from KCV, it's so great just knowing that the enemy, all their backs are turned to you, right? No one's watching you, no one's keeping track of you. You just drop the ultimate and you swear their characters. You can watch the characters' faces just turn to horror. So very well done on his part. And it was a tough choice, very tough choice between if KCV or Cherry would take it, but like you said, both played a fantastic game and both very much deserves that.
Well, might not be able to get anyone in for an interview, but honestly, I'm kind of okay with that. I'm liking Fresno State just ending it with the 3K of Widow headshots to close out the Havana map. Both those DPS popping off. And honestly, props to Concordia, Wisconsin. This Fresno State 2 team, they are going to be good in the Navigators division. And I think Concordia, Wisconsin, they're going to have no problem hanging around.
Yeah, I can't wait to see. And again, very nice on Concordia, Wisconsin. Lots of really good battles coming up, and they never lost heart. So I want to see them continue to improve and try and take a little revenge match later on in the season.
Well, for Orbital, I've been Yelkreb. It's been a pleasure. We've still got one match left coming up at 11. So if you're around in 45 minutes, we'll see you right back here for more College Overwatch. Take it easy, chat. All right, we will have a player interview for you after that match. It turns out just a little bit late into the voice chat action, but coming with us shortly. Orbital back in the mix here, coming up on our interview. But before we get to that, just talking about Fresno State again. We talked about their DPS so much. We really didn't touch on their supports too much. You touched a little bit on Kings Row, how Bacon Strip was really showing up. Backpack doing a great job on that map as well. And then the sub came in, playing the Zen. What kind of different look does that bring? I mean, the Discord orb can bring a lot to the table.
Yeah, and when you're talking about the supports and utilities that come out, everyone automatically you think Mercy, right? This just straight line healing attempt. That's all you're gonna do. But the healing and just the general layering of overshields has become very prominent, right? That's been the name of the game. That's where you see a lot of these people throwing down ultimates and everything of that such. So bringing out the Zenyatta and other shielders like that has been an amazing flux, and you really have to work your way around. That's why we saw that 1v1 with KCV grabbing a snipe at the very end, and I think he's in here now. KCV, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you guys?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. It was so much fun watching you just spin around in the Death Blossom, finding multi-kill after multi-kill on Kings Row. Just had to ask you, one, what did that feel like? Two, how confident are you in your Reaper compared to other heroes in your pool?
It's always satisfying just pressing that Q button and seeing the kills rack up. But I feel like Reaper, when I first started playing the game, Reaper was definitely one of my go-tos, him and Ashe. So I think he's definitely one of my more confident heroes that I like to play.
Yeah, there you go.
You were a showstopper on him. I mean, you had the spotlight all Kings Row, basically. Orbital.
Yeah, it was fantastic to watch, and I also want to ask, with how much a lot of these games tend to be a lot of mental push back and forth. You guys lost, map number 1. It was slightly devastating, I want to say, because I think it was a clean 2-0 grab by them. How did you guys bounce back in the second and third map?
Yeah, I would agree that it kind of shook at least me a little bit, but I think we just kept up the positivity. We had scrims yesterday, and yesterday we were thinking positive, and I think that carried over into the day. And even though we were a little shook, I think we were able to overcome that and just be positive. We were like, we got this, new map, and I think that helped out a lot, maintaining that positive mindset.
I mean, it worked out amazingly well. You guys routed them, and I mean, in map number 3, I think those are some of the fastest takes on the points we've seen. Both you guys hitting over 5 minutes on the clock at one point. At the very end, I do want to get your thoughts, because obviously on the attacking side, you had a beautiful, I think that was pretty much a whip headshot saving your support, but my attention was really drawn towards the very end where you guys actually decided to go, I think it was Ashe and Widowmaker both for your DPS. A lot of people probably wouldn't want to run that when you're on the defensive side, when you're backed into this corner where you're literally just trying to shove them off, and yet it worked to such a great extent. What was running through your mind at that point, and what made you guys kind of deviate towards that kind of DPS pickup at the very end?
For me, I was worried about that Sombra behind us. I just couldn't get her, and I was kind of annoyed. But Sonics, he's a pretty good Widowmaker, and he really pulls through. And I think he was feeling confident with his shot, and he just decided to switch, and it worked out.
Oh man, it definitely worked out. 3 headshots to end the game. That was pretty flashy.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Real quick, KCV, just wanted to ask you, how much does it mean to just like have a good team chemistry on the team? How well do you guys get along? When you're just in the LAN environment, maybe you're not always in the LAN environment too. Maybe you could talk about what that's like, playing from maybe dorm rooms or at home, as opposed to 6 people sitting next to each other in the same room, playing on that LAN environment.
This is my first year on the team in my second semester, so I actually haven't met any of my teammates in real life. It's just been all online, and
got the complete remote setup going.
Yeah, from my bedroom.
Team chemistry is unreal for not even being able to like see each other. That's actually pretty impressive. That's good you're able to make that work though.
Yeah, we've only had about I want to say like 2 or 3 weeks of scrims, and I feel like we're already doing pretty good in terms of team chemistry. So I'm looking forward to the future after playing more and more together, seeing what we could do.
Well, that's great to hear, man. I hope you guys are able to keep it up throughout the season. Starting out 2-0, gotta feel good. Keep on riding that high into week 3. See if you can stay undefeated. Real quick, Orville, did you have anything else you wanted to ask before we let them go?
Not at all. I just want to say fantastic job. It was a hard choice between the two DPS, of course, but both you guys shone so bright in this matchup. And I want to say again, congratulations to you guys for taking the win.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day, guys.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, you too, KCV. Alrighty, and now that we've gotten that player interview out of the way with the one and only KCV, the edgelord himself, the maker of multi-kills, we're able to wrap up this third match of the night. But again, 11 o'clock in just 35 minutes, we're going to be coming at you with match number 4 for the NECC tonight. For Orbital, again, I'm Yell Crib. Good night.